Hello, one and all. It's My View of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Chapter 122, Two Great Rivals. And what do you know? After a dozen freaking chapters, All Might has finally arrived. All Might is here, and the day is saved! Huzzah! Except it kinda isn't, because as I suspected in my last video, Six's wrath of self-destruction here was basically just a distraction, make sure nobody noticed him escaping, which is really, really bad, because despite being reduced to a brain and a ribcage, Six is somehow still alive. And the only real way I can explain this is to say that Six's quirk allows him to control electricity, and he's using that to basically fire off the synapses in his brain that are needed to create conscious thought, and that's keeping him from not dying. Somehow. Though this definitely seems like a fairly precarious balance, and sooner or later Six is going to expire. He's going to run out of mental stamina, or whatever force is powering him, and he'll fall to the ground completely and utterly dead. But before that, though, I think he has one more card left to play, and that is killing Pop! I think that's where he's going next, because, that was the entire reason why he did all of this, why he attacked the neighborhood in the first place. He attacked the city so he could kill Pop, because she knew his secret identity, and that was for some reason important to him in his very, very twisted mind. Though now, if I had to guess, I'd say he's going after Pop because, he's just really, really mad at Koyuchi, the villain in his life who ruined his dream of becoming a hero by just killing so very, very many people. Like I said, a very, very twisted mind, and now he wants to hurt Koyuchi by killing the woman he loves, or at the very least, a woman he has very, very strong feelings for. And this is, evil plan, but not a terrible plan. Right now, all the pro heroes are busy evacuating people, making sure that buildings don't collapse on them, making sure there's no more, mini Sixes running around, so they won't be able to go to the hospital. They won't be able to go there and back it up, meaning the only people left in the hospital are Midnight and the detective. And the detective is, for some reason, still pointing his gun in the corner. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Is he thinking that Six is going to come back, and if so, he wants to shoot him? If so, that's a very weird position to take, especially because, right next to a window. Six could just come in from the window. Very, very weird. But besides him, there's, like I said, Midnight, who, she's a powerful hero, but I don't think her quirk would be all that effective against somebody who doesn't have a nose, and just basically, a burning ball of plasma. I feel like her pheromones wouldn't really reach him all that well, so she'd be more or less useless. Thankfully, though, it seems like Aizawa noticed something, and my best guess here is they realized, okay, Six is causing destruction in literally every single direction except that way, which is also the way to the hospital, meaning that's probably the way Six escaped, and he's probably going after Pop to try and murder her again. Which, good for you, Aizawa, you noticed something. Impressive, very impressive. And now we're going to have basically Koyuchi and Aizawa fighting off against the real Six, which would be so much more interesting than having, Koyuchi basically just be the bait while Endeavor and All Might and all the other pro heroes basically just kick Six's butt. So final showdown, Koyuchi versus Six. I'm very excited for that. I'm very, very excited to see that. Anyway, though, back at the start of this chapter, we have the heroes and vigilantes alike helping with evacuations, which I really do like because I feel like it's a precursor for what's to come in the epilogue of the series, epilogue of the main series, a future spin-off series, where, they're still the pro heroes, obviously still the pro heroes, but there's also volunteer heroes, junior heroes, something like that, ordinary citizens who can easily get a license that basically says, okay, I'm allowed to use my quirk in an emergency to help evacuate citizens, to help shield people from villain attacks, things like that. I would really like to see that. And then we have Edgeshot get blown up, but he's okay because he can use a substitution jutsu, which... Dude, what is your quirk? Seriously, what is your quirk? You can turn yourself into a sharp blade thing somehow, but you can also use short-range teleportation? What is the deal with that? Is that a result of your parents? Like, your mother had the short-range teleportation, your father had the blade thing, and they just, combined to form you? That would make some sense, but it is a weird combo. It is a very, very weird combo. And speaking of weirdos, we then have Best Jeanist, who uses all the clothes on his body, including apparently the ones covering his unmentionables, to keep a building from collapsing, but he also, keeps his neck wrapped for some reason. Best Jeanist, I really have to ask, what is the deal with your chin and your neck? What are you not wanting people to see here? Because because you literally let your butt hang out rather than let that be uncovered, which, weird, really, really weird. And I do love, even though he just saved these people from a building collapsing on top of them, they still have the nerve to yell at him, "Put some dang clothes on." Oh, that was amazing. That was so utterly amazing. And then Endeavor gets all excited for the chance to roast some villains, and he seems to have some sort of plan here. I'm not really sure what it is. I think he was planning on, literally blowing up everything, shooting every single villain he could see with flames, even if it meant, basically destroying the entire neighborhood and injuring a lot of civilians, which, if so, would be one of the darkest things we've ever heard a villain say in the entirety of this series and the main series. Thankfully, that's not a problem, because All Might is here! Huzzah! Much to Endeavor's absolute and complete annoyance. And seriously, All Might flew in so close to Endeavor, he literally whipped the flames off of his face. Come on, All Might, that was a jerk move right there. That was a definite jerk move. Though it is interesting that instead of defeating the villains himself, he threw them into the air and allowed Endeavor to finish them off. I'm curious about that. Was he worried about them self-destructing if he punched them on the ground? Or was this, him just wanting to share credit with Endeavor? Him wanting to give Endeavor a chance to shine? I mean, I could see both being true, but also, let's not forget, it is very, very late at night, and based off the first page of this chapter, All Might has been fighting villains non-stop for quite a while. I feel like he's almost out of time. I feel like he's basically run out of hero minutes for the day, so, he had to finish this off as quickly as possible. And teaming up with Endeavor was the fastest way to make that work. Anyway, though, it seems like that was the last of the mini sixes. The threes, let's call them the threes. And now they just have to deal with, cleanup. There was a lot of destruction, a lot of explosions, a lot of people are injured, and the pros are going to be so focused on, helping the citizens, they're not going to realize that Six's real body managed to escape and is currently on his way to go murder Pop. Thankfully, like I said before, it seems like Aizawa did notice, and Koichi went with them, so together they're going to fight against Six. They're going to take him down, somehow, some way. I mean, he's literally a brain and a skull, half a skull at this point, with some ribs. I can't imagine he has all that much life force left inside of him. Seriously, if they could just make him fight for like another 5 minutes, I think he'll just, burn out and die, fall to the ground, which honestly would be probably the most appropriate ending for him, because again, I just have a really, really hard time imagining Koichi going in for finishing blow. Koichi actually striking at Six and killing him. I mean, even when he was fighting, the giant Six, he was super happy because he was able to basically punch him without hurting him, just destroying his, fire limbs, plasma limbs, whatever you want to call it. But now he'd actually have to, really hit him with everything he has, go in for the kill, essentially, if it means trying to save Pop, which, curious, very, very curious. Though the bright side of all of this is probably the fact that, Koichi's going to have to fight Six basically outside the hospital, and afterwards he's probably going to, immediately black out from the pain of all of his broken bones and crushed organs, and they can just bring him right into the hospital and keep an eye on him and, do the surgeries he needs not to die. Yay! Oh, and speaking of dying, I just now realized we have not seen the ghosts of Pop or Knuckle Duster for quite a while. So are they, fully dead now, or are they no longer dying? What's the deal with them? Was Pop stabilized after having that seizure? I'm very curious about that. But yeah, anything else down below. What do you think of All Might arriving and saving the day? Do you think anyone else is going to realize, wait a second, where'd the real body go? What kind of final fight remains for Six and Koichi? Do you think Six still has another form on top of all the forms we've seen so far? I mean, I think the current count is, this is Six's fifth form, so he might have, one final form left on top of this, which will be the one he uses to fight against Koichi, and then finally dies. Please, for the love of God, seriously. Seriously, I'm seeing a lot of people online joking that at this point, Vigilante is going to go longer than the main series. Which actually would be pretty funny. I would so love to see Koichi showing up in the main series, though, especially right now where they are. They could use the backup. They could absolutely use the backup, and seeing Koichi fight side by side with the pro heroes and Deku and the rest of them would just be so absolutely amazing. But please, link else down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. See you next video, and until then, peace!